Today, I'm going to teach you how to paint a portrait very similar to this, abstract realism, and we're going to loosen up, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So before I get started, my name is Dimitra Milan, and I've been a professional artist for the last 10 years. Last year in 2024, I sold over $200,000 worth of my abstract realism paintings, and that's through my website and through our gallery. And I've built a thriving art career, and today I help artists do the same. So you're going to learn a step-by-step process using acrylics, mixed media materials, and you're going to loosen up and you're going to learn how to integrate your background with your subject matter. So we're going to paint basically the exact same style as this, but we're going to do this girl right here. I'm also going to teach you a photo layering technique, and that's going to help you get proportions accurate every single time. So if you struggle with facial proportions or getting your portraits to look realistic, this little trick is going to help you so much. And then we're going to bring it to life, finishing it with acrylics. So I'm just going to jump right in and we're going to get started. And I'm using just water and a variety of different brushes, and I'm using acrylic transparent to get just the first layer. So this very first step, we are going to create an abstract background. So this is going to be that kind of loose, messy beginning that you really just don't have to think much about. So you're just trying to get something on the canvas. And my recommendation for the photo layering technique would be to not go too dark with your transparents. So you want to kind of start with a really washy, light background. And it's okay if you have some of the white of the canvas still showing. So I'm just choosing like maybe 2 to 3 transparent acrylic colors to just get something down on the canvas. You want to let it be really loose, and you can let it drip, blend together. And if you have other mixed media materials with you, you can definitely incorporate that. So anything goes in this first step. So I'm going to use some of these Derwent Inktense color pencils. And I love these because they activate with wet paint. So it's really fun to use water-soluble material into the wet acrylic. So just remember, don't go too dark with the first layer. So now we're going to create a bunch of mark-making scribbles on your background. So while it's still wet, if you have markers or crayons or pastels, you can just kind of create marks in there. So similar to this painting, this background has all kinds of different mark-making effects, and this is going to be really important for the first layer. So it'll all make sense once we get to step 2. So this part of the exercise, part of the technique, I think really helps you get into your right brain because you're not thinking about it and you can just let loose, and this is just a super abstract beginning. So all these marks are going to be serving a purpose as little markers for when you start to add the portrait on top. So you just kind of want to fill the space with a lot of different mark making. And you're going to find your own way in your own style to do this. I like to do scribbles and kind of like some fake writing. So you can do whatever kind of marks that come natural to you. So make some really dark lines. You can do thinner lines. You just want a big variety. I'm still just using the same transparent paint, but I'm just going in and adding little marks with the paint. So you can do that if you don't have any drawing material. You can just create some really loose abstract brushstrokes.
Hey, Dimitra, a couple people want to know what exact colors are you using?
So I'm using phthalo turquoise, transparent red oxide, and opus pink. So the opus pink is a unique color. These are acrylics from our own art set, our own paints that we've put out. And I don't think you can find the opus pink anywhere else. So this is a really fun, almost fluorescent pink color.
I did want to let the audience know that this is live right now, being recorded live, and the recording will be available to watch later on this YouTube channel as well. So you can watch the recording back and reference this multiple times so that you can create a beautiful abstract portrait just like Dimitra.
All right, so I'm just adding a few more marks, and I'm trying to press down a little bit more to get a heavier mark making effect. So you want some thin, some thick, just a lot of variety happening. And just to mention again, I'm using the Derwent Inktense color pencils. So they are water soluble. They're so much fun to use. They also make, the same brand makes little blocks. And I love those probably even more. Okay, so you may want to add a few kind of like really strong lines running across. And that's a good enough background to start with. Okay, so now it's all about to make sense. So in step 2, we are going to draw the portrait. And we're just going to get in a few proportions so that you know where everything is for once we go to paint. So we're going to draw this girl right here. So the first step is, I also want to mention that a step-by-step link of this process right here for the photo layering app is going to be right below this video. So just want to mention that. So the first step is take a picture with your phone of your abstract. Okay? And then you are going to just brighten it a little bit. You can bring up the exposure. You can crop it. Okay. And then we're going to take a picture of this. Or you know what? I think I have it saved. Okay, so you can there's so many different apps out there for this technique of layering images together, and I do this process all the time in my own art, and it's just very helpful to combine different imagery together if you want to tell a story through your paintings. And sometimes how I used to paint was I just would find a bunch of random pictures and just try to fit it all on the canvas while I was painting, and that is difficult. That takes a lot of time and energy, and sometimes the composition is off. So once I discovered Pixelmator, that's just one app that works for iPhone and iPads. And anyway, you can use Pixelmator to create these sources where you layer images together. And there's a lot of different apps out there, but I'll just show you. So you just add a new photo. So that is the painting. And then you're going to add the portrait right on top. Okay? So it works because they're both horizontal, so it's just easy to layer that. Also, adding a black and white image like this will probably be a bit easier. You can do color photos. It doesn't really matter. It'll kind of work with anything, but the black and white will definitely stand out a little bit more. So you're going to go into style and the blending mode, and you can do multiply or darken. You can choose, whichever style you want, but something that will still show your background of the painting. I think I'm going to go with darken. And then you can also bring down the opacity a little bit, make it a little bit more see-through. Okay, so then you can kind of just move the portrait where you want it. I'm going to not put it straight in the center of the canvas. I want it to be a little bit to the side. Okay, so I'm going to save that. So that was super easy. And now I have the source, okay? So you're going to just follow along and sketch in everything in the portrait based off the marks that you have on the canvas. So these are kind of your guidelines for where you're going to sketch the portrait. So this is a technique that mural artists use a lot when they're doing really, large murals outside. This is just a super great way to kind of project your drawing, but you get to start with a loose background first. And this really helps you keep the portrait loose, in my opinion. So you can take whatever pencil, marker. I probably would recommend a pencil for this, and just start sketching it in. Okay, so you can see really quickly, I already have the left eye in there. And then I'm looking at this right eye. That kind of pink drip is actually the perfect spot for the eye. So you're just using all the lines on your canvas as the markers to help you know where to draw. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask.
Lisa wants to know, is there a reason you like that size, 16 by 20?
It's just a good size for a quick class like this. I usually paint larger. When I'm just painting in my studio, I love to do like 30 by 40 or even bigger. You guys can use whatever canvas size you want. So this part's really fun and relaxing. And see how quick that was just to sketch in the eyes? So it's just such a great technique. And you don't have to sketch every detail, just kind of the major proportions.
Bobby is asking, is Pixelmator explained in the mastery program for us technologically challenged people? LOL, I'm a new student in the program and start tomorrow. Well, congratulations, Bobby. That is so exciting that you're starting the mastery program tomorrow. I would be curious if you'd be willing to share how long you've been thinking about taking the mastery program in the chat. But yes, it is explained in the mastery program. It's something that's explained towards the voice section, in the voice and mixed media section of the mastery program, using Pixelmator, because in the beginning you're just using the sources that are in the oil painting and drawing section of the mastery program, the sources that we provide. So you don't really have to worry about layering and creating your own sources until you get to the mixed media section. But of course, you can use the information from this workshop and help you, bring that into your practice then. But we go way more in depth in the program.
Yeah, there's a whole source making section for sure.
Dimitra, Todd wants to know, how about impasto added to this work?
Yeah, that would be cool. Like, you just mean maybe thicker brush strokes?
Lydia says, I'm starting tomorrow too. So exciting. Been thinking about it for over a year. Woohoo!
That's so exciting.
Bobby says she's been stalking, or he, sorry, I don't know, has been stalking the mastery program for 2 years. That's awesome. So excited for you guys. It's really a life-changing journey, taking the mastery program and finding your voice, building all those skills, I guess in opposite order, building your skills, doing that like soul searching and the journey of learning how to see like an artist and build all those skills, finding your voice and actually selling artwork.
Okay, so I just got kind of maybe it's a little bit hard to see, but you can see like I've added the outline of her face, all the facial features, some hair. So that is step 2, and I think it's just such a great technique when you want to draw something fast and also stay loose, but it will help you get the proportions right. And if you struggle with proportions, this is a really good trick. So you can keep kind of use this as your source, or you can just look at the photo here. But you want to keep this pretty loose, and I'm going to show you in the next step how to complete the painting with acrylics. So I'm going to just put out a few more colors. And I have a variety of opaque paint and transparent paint. So I like to just put a full palette so I have all the colors, and I can mix a lot of different complements, create a lot of different skin tones, and we will talk more about that. How to mix really beautiful skin tones and keep it loose.
Oh my gosh. Wow. That is a review of the highest order. D. Fairchild said, I have about 5 things that are my best life decisions, and the mastery program is number 1.
Aw, that is amazing.
That's really amazing. Secretly, that's why we do these live workshops, so we can read comments like those. Thank you so much.
So, all right. If you've ever felt like your paintings look lifeless or flat, this technique is going to change everything. The key is knowing where to be bold and where to hold back. So we're going to start with big brushes, because you can create really bold, expressive brush strokes that way and stay loose. If you go to your tiny brushes, then you'll probably end up getting really tight and controlled. So try to just start with a big brush, and I am going to start blocking in. So I'm just going to mix some darks together to create almost like black or dark brown hair. And And I'm just going to start by blocking in some of the darks. And you can just play around with different brush strokes. I think with acrylic, it's easy to stay loose because it's way more difficult to blend on your canvas. I notice that I just kind of like lay a brush stroke down and leave it. So try to hold the brush really loosely. You can hold it at the end, hold it on the side. Try different techniques of like sweeping your brush across, letting it just create different marks. So I'm trying to have my brush strokes go with the form in the hair. And I'm choosing a transparent because I still want to see some of that underpainting. So every time we're putting a brush stroke down, we're trying to be really loose.
Hey, Dimitra, Kellen wants to know what's a great way to remember your acrylic, transparent, and opaque paints?
You could write on there like a T or an O, and that will help you. I do that with oil paint because, with oils, I have so many colors. So usually on the back, though, it'll tell you if it's transparent or opaque. Our paint is super nice because it's it's already labeled. So we have opaque, transparent right there on the front because we know
hold that up a little bit higher so that people could see? Sorry for interrupting.
Yeah.
Just because it is a little bit far away on the camera.
But we've realized with like pretty much every acrylic, I don't know another acrylic brand that does this, where we put opaque and transparent right there on the label.
Maybe towards Brandon. I'm sorry, just because, you got to get a good product shot if you're going to, talk about it. Yeah, that's good enough.
Okay, so now I'm kind of going in with some lighter colors, and there's not much of a shadow here on her cheek, but I want to just exaggerate that a little bit to create a good base for once I add a highlight on top. So we're just kind of adding all the midtones and darks right now with transparent paint, just to keep it simple.
Dimitra, I just want to let you know, Natasha said that she's attended lots of online courses, but with the mastery program, your voice is calming and she could listen forever.
Oh.
She's 6 months into the program and loving it. Already have 2 art exhibitions. Wow,
that's
amazing.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Bobby wanted to know what size brush you're using. I guess it was before, though.
The big brush?
Yeah.
Well, I want to say like a 12 or 14.
Dino says a 32 filbert.
32, very, very wrong. Okay. Well, I guess it depends on the brand.
Yeah. I don't know if our brushes are numbered, are they?
They're not numbered.
No, it's just that's the big thicken. And then we have the medium thicken. Dee wants to know, lives in the Netherlands and would like to know if we can follow the mastery program, or is it all American-oriented, pardon my English. Actually, we just had it translated into Dutch, so you could watch the entire thing in Dutch. Now, I will say that this is an AI voice translation, and so, it's actually remarkable in its accuracy. One of the cool benefits of AI is, being able to make it more accessible to people in different languages. So you actually can follow it. Given that Ellie and Dimitra's experiences are primarily in the United States in terms of market, that is where a lot of the business advice comes from. But obviously, if you're looking to build a global audience, and, you know, expand your reach beyond just the Netherlands, and, you know, have your audience and sell your artwork online too, then it's definitely going to be beneficial for you, because, you know, there's no borders on the internet, unless you live in China. Or North Korea, I guess.
So I've just moved down to a smaller brush, and I'm trying to get in some of those darks in the facial features. This is going to start to really make the portrait pop from the background. But by keeping it still in the transparent phase, you're going to be able to integrate your background a bit more with your subject matter. And if you really like something, you can just leave it alone. You don't have to paint over it. So that is the beauty of this style, and working in abstract realism. You're really trying to push and pull different abstract elements, and you can paint over some areas and refine some areas, and then keep some other areas very loose and expressive.
Wow, it's already looking so good, Dimitra.
Thank you. So another technique or trick on staying loose with your portraits is if you do a black and white photo, then you can be a little bit more, I think it's easier to be expressive with the color because you're making it up. And instead of, you know, just using neutral colors, which is totally fine if that's what you want, nothing wrong with that. But if you want to loosen up and just be more expressive, then you can add lots of fun colors into this. So in the shadows here, I've used the turquoise and the opus pink instead of just black and white.
Todd wants to know, what detail brushes do you use?
I just stay with filberts and square brushes for portraits, especially. I think filberts are. This is a round brush. I don't use this a ton. So let's see. I actually don't have a filbert here, but I have a small square brush, and I have this kind of medium small size square brush. But I like how you can get a very defined flat brush stroke, and it's more difficult to get that with round brushes. I also really love like a cat's tongue brush. That's really good too.
Whoa, Natasha said that she sold 6 pieces at her first expedition and 2 at the second, and kept both at the home, so minimal outlay. Visited one of the collectors' homes and was blown away to see it on the wall in their home. Oh, I bet. It is super duper impactful when you see your artwork on the walls of a collector's home. Wow, that's awesome. Laura just said that she's taken a number of online courses where learned a ton, but the mastery program is a huge game changer. I just started in January, and it's wild how much my painting has improved. Wow,
That's
so just
cool.
a month and a half, or I guess 2 months later. That's so awesome. Janice wants to know if the pencils are watercolor or water soluble.
Yeah, they're water soluble.
Kellen wants to know if you have a preference on what colors you choose for the face.
So I just love like a blue and orange, kind of like that complementary duo. So I stuck with, actually, I kind of did a rainbow. I added Opus Pink, but I love transparent red oxide. That's probably one of my most used colors, especially when I'm oil painting. So lately I've been really into earth tones. This is obviously not going in that direction. This is meant to be more expressive and more fun. So yeah.
Jax wanted to know if you're able to create transparent paint from very diluted opaque paint.
Maybe depending on the brand, but it's not going to be, it won't be as good, and it will probably look a little bit milky.
Yeah, it would be like a hazy effect.
So I wouldn't recommend it. So to get like very loose hair, like little wisp of hair, I'm just using the corner of the brush and just trying to go with that motion. I also love square brushes for details because you can get such a crisp, clean line when you just use the edge of it. Just the very like flat tip. Okay, not exactly aware of the time. Oh wow, it's already 4:30. Okay. So now we are going to step 5, which is refining details to pull the portrait forward. So yeah, we are going to just refine your portrait, start adding some opaque colors, really mix expressive flesh tones, and add the highlights to really make it pop. So a lot of artists either overwork their details or their painting just kind of feels unfinished, and I'm going to show you how to find the perfect balance, because the whole beauty of abstract realism is leaving those unrefined, messy parts and letting that shine through your painting. So having a good combination of both, knowing what to paint over and knowing what to leave as is. And I am loving this so far. I think it's definitely missing those highlights. It just needs to be popped a little bit more. I'm going to start with the background now, because a lot of this, there's still the white of the canvas. Now it's totally dry, so I'm going to go over it with another light kind of wash just to stain the white. So it doesn't really matter what color you use, but choosing just a super light color, like a gray. And it will activate some of that mark making, but I'm not too worried about it now because, you know, it served its purpose.
Hey, Dimitra, Bionic Woman wants to know, can you please explain how to shade the nose according to its structure? Have a terrible time with it.
Yeah, noses used to give me trouble as well. Just realized I forgot to even paint it. So I will do that. If you look at the nose, there's just a lot of angles, and proportionally on a portrait, I think if you learn how the face is structured, there's a lot of things that line up, so you can check your proportions, and this is how your facial features will look more accurate. So the corner of the nose always lines up with the corner of the eye here, so you can just kind of drop a line, check it. Yeah, that lines up. The corner of the mouth lines up with the center of the iris, the eyeball. And yeah, the lips or the nose kind of lines up with the earlobe. So if your ear's too high or low, or, you know, if something is off, that is a good way to check it. I think it helps if you draw your nose first before painting it. And that way you can get your proportions accurate before. But basically it's like one big ball in the center and then two smaller balls like for the nostrils. So because this is a 3/4 view, we're not going to see the other side. Oops. I think when noses go wrong is if you make them too long or the nostrils are like too wide or too narrow. So by checking it in proportion to the eyes, it will definitely help. All right, so now I really want the portrait to stand out a bit more from the background. So I'm gonna go in with just kind of a maybe creamy white color. And I don't mix a lot of just plain white acrylic. I think that can be very boring and flat. So if you just mix a little bit of another color in there, it will give it life. So you can try this dry brushing technique where just drag your brush across and you can still see a little bit of what's underneath. You can also scumble with it, just using the side of the brush. And that way you're still kind of keeping some of that abstraction. So if you're not sure which areas need this light, in this particular source, it's light all around her, but you can do a combination of chiaroscuro, so you can apply light next to a dark and that will pop it forward, and then you can add dark next to a light. So that's one way. If you're just really stuck on the background and you don't know what to do, you can try chiaroscuro. So I'm not going to put this everywhere because I still love a lot of that first layer, but this is just to help pop it a little bit more. And for around the hairline, I think it's always a good idea to just kind of make that really fuzzy and not too harsh. So you want to pay attention to your edges. Like this right here, that's a little bit harsh. And I'm just going to blend that a little bit. So that's going to give your painting more depth if you create some very soft, hazy edges in the background, and then wherever you want the focal point to be, so probably her eyes, her lips, you know, something on the face, then you can pay attention to creating more crisp, clean lines that will pop forward. And that's how you can create depth in an acrylic painting. So I'm going to start adding some flesh tones and details. So when you go to place your brush strokes, you really want them to go with the form that you're seeing. They're not just random brushstrokes that are going just all different random ways. You want it to really want to feel those plane shifts. So plane shifts are learning about plane shifts will really help you take your art to the next level. And we go very in depth with that in the mastery program. That's one of the very first things that you learn in both drawing and painting. But right here on her cheekbone, you can imagine that's, coming forward. So that is a plane shift right there. And it's really where like a dark meets a light. So as the shadows and everything shifts around, that's where you can find those plane shifts. Now I'm just adding brushstrokes here and there, but some of this I'm just going to keep as is because I really like it, and I don't want to cover up all those marks. So when you add those midtones first, and then you go on top with a highlight, it'll really come forward and pop and give it more depth there. So that is the whole purpose of working kind of dark to light and just waiting and being patient to add those final highlight details. And especially on her face, I'm trying to be a little bit more soft with my brushstroke. So I do want some bold, kind of expressive brushstrokes, but I'm also going to just blend and dry brush a little bit. So you want to have a good combination of both. And the cheekbone is an area that's really great to kind of add these super bright, fun colors. So to create a portrait that's exciting and not boring, you got to add some of that bright color in there. And you can just try to have a good variety of different complementary colors. You can kind of place like an orange next to a blue. That's going to create some contrast. And mixing other colors into your white, that will really help you. Anybody have any questions?
Raqui MG3, I'm sorry, I'm not good at reading names like that. At reading usernames. I'm sorry. Just wanted to let you know that she's really grateful for all these amazing workshops and has been implementing them into her artwork and really enjoying it. And
I'm so happy to hear that.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
She was saying thank you, but also thank you for the feedback.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Ethan earlier wanted to know if you're only using water to thin paint.
Yeah, I'm only using water. Sometimes I use different acrylic mediums. We make like a really nice acrylic varnish medium that dries very glossy, and you can use it as a varnish or mix it in with your paint. But right now I'm just trying to keep it simple. And for this opaque layer though, adding these refinement details, I'm not mixing a whole lot of water. It's just paint.
How do you feel about leaving those eyes fully pink like that?
It's probably a little bit scary. I'll change it just for you.
I mean, maybe if the whites of the eyes were just slightly more white so that her eyes were like glowing pink. I don't know.
You're right. Yeah.
It's cool. It's just, slightly vampire-ish. Julia wants to know, how do you decide when to work light to dark or dark to light?
So I was kind of jumping all around because I'm doing this quickly in like an hour or less. So you typically, with transparent paint, you want to go light to dark so you can get your midtones in first, because once you go very dark, it's gonna be difficult to lighten that up in transparent. Then once you switch to opaque paint, and this is just our method that we teach, so of course I know people paint in all different ways, but this is like our proven process to create really great paintings. We feel like if you separate your paint, work in transparent, then opaque, you'll have a really good outcome. So I try to just stick to that in all of these workshops and in the mastery program. That's most of what we teach. But with opaque, you're going to go dark to light. So it's like if you think of a spectrum, they're going to go opposite. And then you end with those highlights. You can also end with acrylic, because it dries so fast. You can keep layering and switch around and go back and forth between transparent and opaque. So it's a little bit different with oils.
Svet wants to know if you use the proportion tool in the beginning. The answer is no. She did a technique where she did this abstract background and then took a picture and overlaid the source with that picture in order to get the proportions in, using abstract marks in the painting as a reference point. Bob wants to know, how much water can you use before the integrity of the paint becomes compromised?
That's a good question. I think that really depends on the quality of the paint that you're using, because like with this back layer, I used a lot of water mixed in and just did a very light wash, and it doesn't change the paint to like lose quality. It's still just it's just a lighter color. So I wouldn't worry about that. I don't know if I'm answering the question right, like if what he's exactly asking.
I think that's right. Bionic Woman wants to know, I know mixing black into white is a major party foul when it comes to oils. Is the same true in acrylics?
Yeah, I think you can create a much more exciting color that still feels like a gray if you're going for a gray. I just mixed a nice gray, and that is a combination. It's kind of like mixing complements together, creating a more purpley gray color, and that I don't actually have black squirted out. So if I do use black, I always mix another dark transparent, like purple or blue, into it to give it some life. So I think it's just same with white. I don't like to use plain white because it'll feel very flat. I think if you're going to go with oil on top, then you can. You could, of course, just mix white and black, but I don't see why you'd really want to.
Dana wants to know, what app would you use for Android? None of us have Androids.
Pixlr.
But Pixlr, is the one that we typically recommend to students based off of other students. I think one of our mentors for the mastery program, Brita, I think she has an Android, a Samsung specifically. Yes, her husband works for Samsung, so she must have Samsung. I'm just kidding. No, Samsungs are great phones. Yeah. This live is brought to you by, I'm just kidding.
Okay, I am probably running out of time. I've lost track of time.
It is 4:52 p.m. on the February 28th of 2025.
So I'm just going to spend the last couple minutes adding some final details. You can step back from your painting and see what it needs. I think that always helps getting a fresh perspective from across the room. So I'm going to use this round brush, just the very tip of it, to get some really fine details. This eye is not finished, and the nose needs a little bit. So I'm going in with some darks just to create a little bit more contrast.
Guys, doesn't Dimitra make it look so easy?
Well, I believe this process is easy. Anyone can do this. And it will really boost your confidence if you struggle with portraits, because if you do all these steps and you use that photo layering technique, it's just so much fun to sketch it in and see it come to life.
Okay, everyone agrees with me. That you make it look easy. Now, the real trick is, everyone, now you got to go try it and then come back and comment on this video if you tried the technique.
Yes, we would love to see and hear from you how this works out. I know you're going to love it.
We're not done yet, though. Shout out to our production team for getting us some music from our music licensing platform so that we can have music live while we're on YouTube and not get copyright strikes. And just when I said that, the music breaks up a little bit, of course. Susanna says, first time on your mastery class and really like your style of transparency. Really love it. Thank you so much. Stacy wants to know if this lesson will be posted later. Yeah, this is going to be saved to YouTube, so you can refer back to this, keep on watching it, share it with your friends, your family, your enemies. Just kidding. This is not something you would want to share with your enemies. The power is too strong with this one.
All right, so some final thoughts on this. While you guys are finishing your piece, really think about the edges because that's going to really make it feel finished. So before, when I mentioned that people struggle knowing when their painting's finished, that is one of the key factors in making your piece feel finished, is just look at the edges, make sure you have variety. And having some soft, blurry edges will help you get more depth in your painting. And then having some more bold brush strokes, maybe, and then also a combination of like some more softened, blended areas and crisp, clean edges. So just a good variety of everything, and your painting will feel a lot more finished. So these little last touches, like little highlights, kind of blending some edges together, it's all going to help your painting just really sing and feel like it has that level of refinement you're looking for. And I could, of course, spend hours working on this, but this is a speed painting for me, so
Woohoo! Svet says, about to sign up for the mastery program. Can't believe we'll be able to learn how to paint like that. Yeah.
that's
Woohoo!
amazing. All right, so you have just seen a small piece of what's possible with abstract realism. And if you imagine you had a whole roadmap of developing your own unique style, refining your skills, and building a thriving art career, then you really need to take the mastery program. So this is just a taste, and I hope that you have felt inspired watching this and doing this lesson yourself, because this will awaken your really expressive side and it'll help you loosen up. And also, if you are struggling with some of the proportions in painting portraits, this lesson really has it all. So in the mastery program, you're gonna see we take this way more in depth, and you'll really come alive in your painting process and find your own unique style, learn how to sell your work and put it out there. So my mom and I co-teach the mastery program along with other professionals, and it's just an incredible life-changing program. As you've heard from some of the people here, it's amazing, and it really will teach you everything you need to know about being a professional artist, or if you just want to simply elevate your own skills, this program has it all. So if you guys have questions, you can leave them in the comments and Jake and I will answer your questions. But I've had so much fun, and this was such a good technique. So definitely show your finished paintings with us. Once you do this yourself, maybe you've been painting along with me, I'd love to see, and you can tag us on social media. So thank you guys. And Jake, is there any questions?
Just a comment so far. Jillian says, I will be taking the mastery program. We'll have to wait till next year. I wish I found you guys before I went to SCAD. We've heard that a lot, but we really appreciate that, and we can't wait for you to sign up. And Natasha, one of our mastery program students who said she 10 out of 10 recommends it, said that we just dropped a payment plan to drop it to $200 a month. That is correct. So if you want to take the mastery program at only $200 a month, we did just make it that much more affordable. So we have that option now too. Rose wants to know, can this technique be used with oils?
Yeah, you can do this technique with oils. It would be, you have to wait in between layers for the drying time, but you could totally apply this with oils. You could do like a charcoal underpainting, do drippy backgrounds with oils, and then let that dry, and then You could use like a China marker, an oil-based marker, or oil-based crayon, pastel, to sketch in your portrait, and then, you know, do the rest with oils for sure. So that would just be, you know, waiting for the drying time.
Bionic Woman wants to know if there will be another season of The Outstanding Artist. And yes, there will. We're about to start filming it on March 26th. And this time we'll have a much quicker turnaround in terms of editing, because we got some awesome new editors.
So excited about that.
Yeah.
So if you loved this, again, if you love this technique, then definitely check out the mastery program. If you want to sign up right now and it's calling to you, then click the link in the description of this video. So thank you guys so much, and I will see you next time.
To be able to visualize things that you never thought possible, the experience is teaching us how to dream really big.
This whole experience taught me everything when it comes to being successful.
Behind me is one of my featured pieces. It's called Beautiful Hope.
This whole program has just been nothing but a blessing for me.
I learned so much in this art class.
How to be successful as an artist as far as even practical habits, figuring out more about your voice, figuring out more how to market.
They've prepared me for the real world.
And now
I get to step into my career as a professional artist.
The mastery program will be of great benefit to not just other artists, but also who have always thought that art is a hobby, that they cannot live off it.
I did not consider myself a professional artist.
You don't even have to be an artist to take something away from this.
I was working in hospitals as a respiratory therapist,
A sales manager.
I was a creative director.
I'm a teacher.
This program gave me the confidence to pursue what I've always wanted to do.
I'm an artist.
It's not just painting classes, it's also business classes. I found my voice.
What is my artistic voice?
Your personal aesthetic, what drives you, what motivates you, what is this message you want to tell to the whole world?
You start to see what it is that you're passionate about.
I really want to focus on giving back to the city.
Everything about the mastery program is built in a way that supports you as an artist.
I love the community of artists.
Community there is so strong and powerful.
Here you can find a group of people that will support you.
I've never seen a group of people that are just so willing to help lift each other up and sharpen each other's skills.
Seeing their work was so inspiring.
We're just encouraged to keep going.
I can't explain how transformative it is.
It truly changed my life.
Each person is so unique in their expression.
And that's what's so beautiful about the program.
It's the most authentic experience you're going to get.
You can be successful in this program.
No matter what skill level you're at, it's a great program. They're very direct, very passionate. I just love it.
It was hard, but it was amazing.
I am a happy graduate.
I'm so much happier. I found my passion. So if art is really your passion, then it's definitely worth it.
Go to the Milan Art Institute.
Just do it, it's great.